Hi guys, I have just done 30 seconds of mindfulness in the garden and you didn't even realise it. 30 seconds is all it took. Sometimes we need to slow down, let your shoulders drop, unclench your jaw and take 5 deep breaths. That's all it takes. Listen to all the sounds that are around us and enjoy it. Just enjoy it. It's such a beautiful day. And such a gorgeous day that we're going to take a look at how to make a couple of these lovely autumn planters. You can see in the back there, I'm my own shadow, bear with me. Now, I'm Mary, by the way, from Learning to Grow Through Gardening. And this is what we're going to take a look at today, is how to make a couple of these lovely planters. Really easy to do, so don't panic. And by the time this video is over, you'll be heading off to the garden centre and getting started. So that's one of the first things we're going to look at, is our pots. Now the two pots I have here, one is terracotta, and I have it maybe 15-16 years, and the other one is a wooden planter. Now terracotta and wood tend to be really good for the winter time because they hold their heat a wee bit more. Things like metal planters that are galvanized steel, I suppose they look really nice, but they make the roots of the plants get really cold in our frosty weather. So it's just something to think about. With the wooden planter there too, what you can do is actually line it with black plastic, and that'll keep the roots a wee bit warmer as well. So the plants that we're going to look at as well, that we have here, I got these all at a garden centre, and one of the things I did was I basically went round their displays, and what you'll see is they have a lot of the displays set out in colour schemes. So you'll have things like your purples and reds, oranges and reds. Sometimes there might be extremes like limes and blacks, or whites and whites and silvers, and they're absolutely beautiful. So what you'll do is you can go into your garden centre, ask for a wee bit of advice, a bit of help. They're more than glad to do that. Put everything that you've picked into your trolley, stand back and take a look and see, do you actually like them? And if you don't, take them out and have a look again for some other different type of plants. With doing any planters at all at any time of the year, there's three elements that you normally try to do. One is have a thriller, which is your plant that's going to draw your attention first of all. So this one, fountain grass. And it is absolutely gorgeous. The sun hits it there, you can see all the colours. The other one I got is fillers, is the heuchera. Heucheras come in all different colours, from lime green to almost black purple. So there's loads, there's over 100, maybe 200 more varieties of this heuchera. So that's our filler. We have Gulfperia, which is our little one here with the berries. So they are filling up the spaces in the middle. And we have what's called cyclamen, a lovely little flower. Again, you can get these in pinks and whites, pale pinks, purples. And then we have some pansies. I just thought the colour of these were stunning, so that's why they're in here. So that's your fillers. And then you have what's called your spiller, and our spiller in this pot is the ivy, and the ivy is going to spill out over the front of the pot and actually softens the whole display. So that's pot one. Pot two, we have a few different little things in here. We have an Ornamental Brassica, which is a cabbage. Don't eat it. Well, you can eat them, I think, but just don't. We have a miniature Chrysanthemum. Again, I thought the colour was absolutely beautiful for this time of year. Loads of buds on it. So when you're picking your plants in the garden centre, take a look. Okay, it might not have a lot of buds open, like this. But if you see the plant with loads of buds like that, it means they are all going to come later on. I have another of the little pansies in here. A cyclamen is your fillers, and then your spiller is again this ivy. And the reason why I picked this ivy too, because it's kind of variegated with like a brownish reddish tone on the leaf, and a bit of the red stem, and it was to sort of colour coordinate the whole thing together. So say you pick whichever colours you like. I know these pots here now have, they're quite large. They're about 45 centimetres diameter. So I have these two already filled up with compost. And the compost that you normally try to go for would be something like John Innes, because it sort of is heavier as such. It holds the nutrients better, holds moisture better. And on top of that then, if you put in ordinary compost, which you can do, if you can't get a hold of any other John Innes, get your ordinary compost, and just the one thing you need to be careful with is that in the winter time and there's strong winds, it could blow away. Same as your pots. If you're using plastic pots, in the winter time, if we've got strong winds again, there's a possibility that the plant pots might blow away. If you're using an even larger pot than that, one of the wee tricks that I would recommend, so that you're not having to fill it up with loads and tons of compost, is to turn, this one's got weeds growing in it, to take an upturned ordinary plastic pot, put it in the centre, like so, even a bigger pot if you want it, and then you fill it with your compost. And what it means is, whenever you're using a big planter like this, you are saving a wee bit of space by putting one of these pots in. Now, do make sure that any pot that you use has drainage holes. If you don't do that, like this one has a drainage hole here and over here. Now, if you get a pot and it has no drainage holes in it, and you don't bother to put any holes in it, what will happen is the water has nowhere to escape, and the roots on your plants will absolutely just rot away. Everything just sits and soaking compost. So that's what you need to do. Is now some people would put in stones in the bottom of the pots. Now the thought is that you don't have to do that anymore. That if you just put either broken terracotta pot or some large stone over the top of the hole, then that's all you need. You don't need to be putting layers of stones in the bottom. Whenever you pick your pot, fill it with compost, and you're deciding where you're going to put it, I would recommend, before you even fill it with compost, I would place it where you're going to have it as a final place. So say you're going to put them at either side of your front door, I would put the pot at the front door and fill it at the front door. This filled with compost and plants is a ton weight, and you'll end up hurting yourself if you do carry it. So I would recommend, I'm doing this only for example because I have a couple of donkeys that are going to help me carry this around the front later on. But if you're going to do this yourself, definitely fill this up wherever your final place is, whether the back door, front door, whatever. Excuse me. So mine are going to the front door, so nobody's going to see it from the back. If you're going to have your pot set out, say in the middle of your patio or something like that, and you're going to see it from 360, you need to keep that in mind when you're picking your plants. Your thriller plant would normally go sort of in the centre or off centre a wee bit if it's going to be seen from 360. This one is going to be against my front door, or the step at the front door, so I would put this just simply at the back. This is one of the things you can try yourself too if you want to do it. Before you finish putting in your pots, say where you're going to put your plants, okay? So I'm going to put my hooker there. I couldn't get two the exact same, but they're not far off colour wise. Take a look at the one back there. So we need a Gulfperia, and it's going to go sort of like there. I'm going to take another Gulfperia and I'm going to put it on this side sort of to balance it up. And the good thing about the majority of these plants here, I'll take them out in the springtime and I'll put them into the bed at the front of the house, because all of these will grow quite happily. And that's another one. And then our spiller going to be this bit of ivy at the front. So there you can see what's kind of going to be kind of the finished look. All right, so I have my compost in this pot. So what I'm going to do is take these plants. It might be easy with one hand, but we'll have a go. So I'm going to scrape away part of this compost from the back with my hand like so. I'm going to try and get this plant out. Now take the label out. What you can see with this, with the roots, you can see they're going round and round and round and round. Now, gently, you handle your plants gently. Gently loosen some of the roots. So instead of them trying to go round and round and round and round, which they've been doing in that pot, you're letting them realise that they can go a different way. So you're just teasing them out very gently. And now they'll go in different directions. So take a look and you can move it round. You can, till you get the right position. I think that looks pretty good there. So we need to take out a wee bit more of the compost. Pull it back with your hand. Do wear gloves if you are sensitive to anything at all. I am shocking as do as I say, not as I do. And then you fill back with your compost. Now, one of the things that you must remember when you're putting your compost in the pot, don't fill it to the brim. If you fill it to the brim and you water it, the compost is just all going to fall and spill out over the side. So you leave about 5 centimetre gap at the top. Okay, so our next one, that's that one in, we'll firm these in later. We're going to put in our heuchera. So give it a squeeze. And I'm going to make a hole over on this side. Now, this little fella hasn't got as many roots going round and round and round, so he's going to be okay in there. So I want it more spilling out over the side, so we'll turn it round like so. And firm. So you can see how those colours complement each other really well. So our next one then we're going to go for is our Gulfperia with our lovely red berries. And I have soaked all these plants overnight in a bit of water. So we're going to put you in there, shimmy you in. So you can see again, try and get the berries out over the side a wee bit. Then we're going to go for our ivy. And the ivy is going to sit right at the front, sort of directly opposite the side of the pot from our thriller, okay? Now again, if you're doing anything like window boxes or anything like that, I would say try and put a couple of things like ivy or something that spills out over the front of your window box as well, just to soften it, and it makes it look really nice. So again, we're trying to get our ivy to spill out over the front like so, and then we're going to put in cyclamen in the center. And you see the beautiful variegated leaves, like how pretty. Isn't nature wonderful? So that's really nice in there. So I'm just digging a hole for it to go in. And you're going to firm these in. And one of the things you need to make sure that there aren't air pockets. And what air pockets are is just spaces within when you've put in these new plants, and there might be gaps in the compost. So it's quite important to make sure that you push it down with any gaps with your fingers like so, and add more compost if needed, and it's just to make sure that you don't have lots of pockets of air. And we're going to put in another Gulfperia, and this little guy is going to stick over the side too. Again, you can see the colours all going nice together. But pick plants that you like. It's like in summer bedding plants and stuff, I do not like begonias, just personal choice. So I would never buy begonias to put into pots. They might look nice, but to me they're very blousy and in your face. So I'm not that keen on them. So then you'll take a couple of your little pansies and you'll put them in the gaps in between, and that'll fill that up. Our next pot I'll go quickly over to, tidy up as I go along. Okay, so we're going to use a miniature chrysanthemum. Again, do the same if you want. Set them in the pot first, turn them round, see what side looks a bit better. That's a bit wonky there, so we'll put it to the back so nobody can see it. And you can see the blossoms are all filling out here. These ones all have to still come out, so this is going to fill out nicely. So we've got it. Keep looking at the one behind. I'm going to put my Ornamental Brassica over to the side. Again, I couldn't get two exactly the same, but they're not far off, and they're going to be on different steps anyway, so it's going to be okay. We have our spiller to the front, like so, and then we're going to put a little cyclamen in just for a spot of colour over here, and then we'll fill it in with our little pansies. And what you need to do is, once these have gone over, same with your cyclamen and your pansies as well, when they have sort of starting to not look their best, pinch them out, and as you do that, that'll put on more growth and you'll have lots and lots of new growth. So the cyclamen, pansies and your chrysanthemums, just keep deadheading. Now another thing too, if you're going to put these on your front doorstep or patio, they're going to be sitting flush with the ground. And if we're going to get rain, because you know we might get rain in the winter time, you can buy little plant feet, and basically all it does is raise the pot slightly off the ground. That's all it does, and it lets the water get away so they're not constantly sitting in damp and wet conditions all the time. If you can't, you can get them actually in garden centres. There's wee terracotta ones you can buy, but if you can't get your hands on them, what you can do is get your milk bottle lids or lemonade bottle lids and put 4 or 6 of them around the edge of your pot, just underneath it. Again, I'm trying to do this one-handed so it might work. Okay, so put it under your plant pot, and all that does is raise it up and allow the water to get away. So I hope you enjoyed that little session on making your autumn planters. And I will put a list of all the plants that I have used up on my gardening page called Learning to Grow Through Gardening. And if you have any questions, or if you want to get in contact with me, please do not hesitate to get in touch on the page or on Instagram with Garden with Mary as well. And I'll be more than happy to help you. And I do hope you've enjoyed this, and I cannot wait to see photographs of what you have done yourselves. Take care. Bye.